The discovery. Dr. Elena Reyes wiped sweat from her brow as the Saharan sun beat down mercilessly on the excavation site. 3 months of digging had yielded nothing but sand, rocks, and the occasional fossilized remains of long-extinct creatures. The Egyptian government was growing impatient with her team's lack of progress, and funding was running dangerously low. "Dr. Reyes, you need to see this," shouted Amir, her young assistant, waving frantically from the eastern edge of the dig site. Belina jogged over, her boots kicking up clouds of golden dust. Amir stood beside their ground-penetrating radar equipment, his face a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "The readings make no sense," he said, pointing to the display. "Whatever's down there is giving off an energy signature unlike anything I've ever seen. And look at this perfect geometrical structure." The radar image showed what appeared to be a massive curved surface buried nearly 200 meters below them. The surface was perfectly smooth, with no imperfections whatsoever. Impossible for any natural formation. "How did we miss this before?" Elena asked, studying the readings. "We didn't," Amir replied. "This energy signature wasn't there yesterday. It's like it just turned on." Within days, Elena's quiet archaeological dig transformed into a hive of activity. The Egyptian government sent military personnel, and international scientists arrived by the dozens, all drawn by the mysterious discovery. Heavy excavation equipment carved a path toward the anomaly, as politicians argued over jurisdiction. 3 weeks later, Elena stood at the edge of a massive pit, staring down at what would rewrite human history forever. A section of gleaming metal, smooth as glass, and with a faint blue luminescence, protruded from the excavated sand. The material defied analysis, harder than diamond yet with a strange warmth to the touch. "It's not corroded," Elena said to Colonel Marcus Chen, the military attaché assigned to oversee security at the site. "After thousands, maybe millions of years buried here, it should show some signs of deterioration." Colonel Chen ran his hand along the metallic surface. "What do you think it is? Some kind of bunker? Ancient technology?" "I don't think it's from Earth," Elena replied quietly. Before Chen could respond, a series of symbols appeared on the surface where his hand had been. They glowed with an inner light, shifting and changing like liquid. "I didn't touch anything," Chen said, stepping back. Dr. Amit Shah, the team's linguist, rushed forward with his tablet, recording the symbols. "They're changing too fast. It's like they're cycling through different scripts, searching for something we'd recognize." The symbols suddenly froze, then rearranged themselves into recognizable letters. "Activation sequence initiated. Everyone back," Chen ordered, drawing his sidearm as the ground beneath them began to tremble. The trembling intensified, spreading across the desert. Sand cascaded into the pit as more of the structure revealed itself. What they had uncovered wasn't just an artifact. It was the tip of something massive. Satellite images captured the event as it unfolded. A perfect circle of desert, nearly 5 kilometers in diameter, began to sink as the structure below pushed upward. The excavation team evacuated to a safe distance, watching in awe as an enormous disk of alien metal emerged from beneath the sand. News of the discovery spread worldwide. Governments called emergency sessions. Religious leaders offered conflicting interpretations. Stock markets plummeted, then soared as investors speculated on potential technological breakthroughs. Then came the reports from other locations: the Gobi Desert, Antarctica, the Amazon Basin, the Pacific Ocean floor, the Russian tundra, and the Australian outback. 7 identical structures, all simultaneously beginning to emerge. 3 days after the initial activation, as military forces surrounded each site and the world teetered on the edge of panic, the structures broadcast a unified message to every electronic device on Earth. TRECURSOR vessels, DTECTD, awaiting custodian, AVT, TVIKATION. As scientists and linguists worked to understand the message, The night sky lit up with the arrival of massive ships entering Earth's atmosphere. They descended with impossible grace for their size, hovering above each of the 7 sites. The ships made no hostile moves. Instead, they sent a communication in every human language simultaneously. People of Earth, we are representatives of the Galactic Assembly. For millennia, we have monitored your development, awaiting the day you would discover the legacy left in your keeping. What you have found are celestial arcs, planet-sized vessels created by the precursors, the first intelligent species to traverse the stars. We come now because you have activated them, something no other species has ever accomplished. Elena and her team were brought to a meeting with the alien representatives who had landed near the Sahara site. The being that greeted them stood nearly 3 meters tall, with iridescent skin that shifted colors with its movements. 4 arms extended gracefully from a torso covered in what appeared to be living technology. "I am Ambassador Xorin," it said, its voice melodious yet powerful. "I represent the Assembly's Council of Elders." "Why have these arcs been buried on our planet?" Elena asked. "The precursors vanished from the galaxy 5 million years ago," Soren explained. "Before their disappearance, they created 7 celestial arcs, vessels of incredible power and technology. They left these ships on worlds they believed held promise, worlds with species that might one day be worthy of their legacy." Colonel Chen stepped forward. "What makes humans worthy when other species aren't?" Soren's skin rippled with colors. "That is what puzzles us. Your species is young, barely spacefaring, often violent, and self-destructive. Yet the arcs respond to you. They recognize something in your genetic makeup, your brain patterns, or perhaps your very nature that resonates with precursor design." "What exactly are these arcs capable of?" Elena asked. "They are the most advanced technology ever created," Soren replied. "Each vessel contains knowledge spanning millions of years. They can travel between galaxies in moments, terraform dead worlds into paradise, and harness the energy of stars. Their defensive capabilities could destroy entire fleets with a thought." A silence fell over the assembled humans. "Why are you telling us this?" Chen finally asked. "Aren't you worried about giving such power to a young, violent species?" His color shifted to a deep blue. "The arcs were designed with safeguards. They cannot be commanded against their programming. And the precursor's judgment carries weight throughout the galaxy. If they chose you as custodians, the Assembly must respect that choice. But not everyone in this Assembly agrees with that assessment," Elena guessed. "No," Soren admitted. "Some believe the arcs should be removed from Earth for safekeeping. Others think humanity should be guided or controlled in their use. And some," Soren paused, "some fear what humanity might become with such power and seek to prevent that future." As night fell over the desert, Elena stood alone near the edge of the massive alien structure. Its surface now glowed with a gentle blue light, illuminating the surrounding sand. The enormity of their discovery weighed heavily on her mind. Humanity had just been thrust onto a galactic stage they never knew existed, given access to technology they couldn't comprehend, and placed at the center of alien politics they didn't understand. Their isolation was over, their innocence lost, and whether Earth was ready or not, the cosmic spotlight now shone directly upon them. Ambassador Xorin approached, moving silently across the sand. "Your thoughts are troubled, Dr. Reyes." "Why now?" she asked, not turning to face the alien. "If these arcs have been here for millions of years, why did they activate today?" "The precursors were patient," Soren said. "They waited for the moment when humanity would reach a specific developmental threshold, not technological, but something deeper. Perhaps a capacity for understanding, for growth, for connection. Or perhaps," Elena suggested, "they waited until we needed them most." Above them, more lights appeared in the night sky. Alien ships arriving from across the galaxy, drawn by the awakening of the celestial arcs and the impossible species that had activated them. The awakening. The United Nations Security Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every nation stood shoulder to shoulder around the circular table, while screens displayed the faces of world leaders who couldn't attend in person. In the center of the room stood Ambassador Xoran alongside 3 other alien representatives from different assembly factions. Dr. Elena Reyes and Colonel Chen sat together, still processing everything they'd learned in the week since the discovery. 7 massive alien ships, the celestial arcs, were now partially uncovered at sites around the world, and the space above Earth teemed with vessels from across the galaxy. The precursors left these arcs in your keeping, Ambassador Xoran explained to the assembled humans. But now you must decide how to proceed. The technology within them could transform your civilization overnight, or destroy it, added Vexinar, a reptilian diplomat representing the Hegemony Alliance. Humanity is unprepared for such advancement. The arcs should be placed under assembly supervision for your own protection. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The precursors chose them, countered Mila, a small avian being representing the Free Worlds Coalition. That choice must be respected. Perhaps, said the 4th alien, a crystalline entity called Zenith. But the precursors vanished. Their judgment may have been flawed. We must consider the stability of the galaxy. As the aliens debated, Elena leaned toward Colonel Chen. They're treating us like children who found a loaded weapon. Aren't we? Chen replied. We have no idea what these arcs can really do. Which is why we need to learn, Elena insisted, before others decide for us. The Security Council eventually agreed to form an international team to study the arcs under partial assembly supervision. Elena and Chen were appointed to lead the human contingent at the Sahara site. The next morning, as Elena's team descended into the exposed interior of the ark, they entered a vast chamber filled with technology beyond human comprehension. Corridors stretched for kilometers in every direction. Holographic interfaces activated as they approached, responding to their presence. It's like it knows us, whispered Amur, as a display illuminated before him, showing what appeared to be Earth's complete geological history. Dr. Shah had made progress deciphering the ark's language system. It's teaching us as we explore, he explained. The interfaces adapt to our level of understanding. Over the following days, Elena's team discovered that each arc contained different aspects of precursor knowledge: medicine, physics, astronomy, biology, engineering, and more. The Sahara arc focused on geology and planetary sciences. Meanwhile, reports came in from other sites. The Antarctic arc specialized in biology and genetic engineering. The one in the Pacific contained astronomical data and navigation systems. Each was a piece of a greater whole. As they delved deeper, Elena began to notice subtle differences in how the assembly representatives interacted with the arcs. Most couldn't activate the more advanced systems. Many interfaces remained dark when they approached, only lighting up for humans. The arcs recognize you as the inheritors, Ambassador Xoran explained when Elena questioned him. They respond to something uniquely human. But what? Elena pressed. Xoran's skin shifted to a thoughtful purple. Our scientists believe it may be related to your neural patterns. Human brains process information differently than other sapient species. You make intuitive leaps, connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. The precursors may have valued this trait. Before Elena could respond, Colonel Chen burst into the chamber, his face grave. We have a situation. 3 hegemony warships just entered orbit, and they're not responding to assembly hails. The situation deteriorated rapidly. The hegemony, an alliance of species that believed in controlled technological advancement, had decided that humanity could not be trusted with the arcs. Their representatives withdrew from discussions, and their ships took up positions above each arc site. They're preparing to use force, Thorin warned during an emergency meeting. The assembly is divided on intervention. What can we do? Asked the Secretary General of the UN. We can't fight ships with that level of technology. All eyes turned to Elena and her team, who had spent the most time studying the arcs. There might be a way, Alina said slowly. The arcs have defensive systems, if we could activate them. Absolutely not, interrupted Vexinar, who remained as an observer. Using precursor weapons would confirm our worst fears about humanity. And what would you have us do? Colonel Chen demanded. Surrender the arcs that were left in our keeping. Allow your hegemony to dictate humanity's future. As tensions mounted, Dr. Shah made a breakthrough in the Ark's central chamber. Dr. Reyes, he called over the communication system. I found something. A message from the precursors themselves. Alina rushed to the central chamber, followed by Colonel Chen, Ambassador Xorin, and representatives from various governments. In the center of the vast room, a holographic figure had appeared, a being unlike any they had seen before, its form shifting between solid and energy. Inheritors, spoke the figure, its voice resonating not through sound but directly in their minds. If you are receiving this message, you have reached the threshold we foresaw. The 7 arcs are awakening. The being explained that the precursors had not vanished but evolved beyond physical form. Before their transcendence, they created the arcs as gifts for species that might one day follow their path. We seeded many worlds with potential, the message continued. But in your species, we recognized a reflection of ourselves. Curiosity unbounded by fear, determination that defies logic, empathy that transcends self-interest, and creativity that challenges the impossible. These are the qualities that will carry you beyond the stars, beyond even what we have achieved. The figure's form shifted, and the chamber around them transformed into a vast representation of the galaxy. 7 points of light connected, forming a perfect pattern. The arcs are not weapons or tools of domination, the message explained. They are seeds of rebirth. When fully awakened and united in purpose, they will transform your world into a beacon of life and knowledge that can guide the galaxy for eons to come. As the message concluded, the hologram faded, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. That's why the arcs respond only to humans, Alina realized. They're calibrated to our specific consciousness. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the structure. On the surface, the hegemony forces had begun landing troops, intent on seizing control of the arcs. We're out of time, Colonel Chen said grimly. Alina made a decision. Racing to the central interface, she placed her hands on the control surface. If the precursors chose humanity, then we need to trust their judgment, and ourselves. Around the world, at each of the 7 sites, similar scenes unfolded as humans made the same choice. The arcs responded instantly, their surfaces coming alive with pulsing energy. The ground trembled not with destruction, but with transformation. Above Earth, the hegemony ships found themselves immobilized in fields of golden energy. They could neither advance nor retreat, their weapon systems offline. The 7 arcs began to rise from their resting places, not fully emerging but lifting just enough to form connections with one another, bridges of pure energy arcing across the planet's surface and into the atmosphere. Earth itself began to change. Deserts bloomed with new life. Polluted waters cleared. The very atmosphere seemed to purify. It wasn't terraforming but perfecting, enhancing Earth's natural systems rather than replacing them. In orbit, a shield of translucent energy formed around the planet, not to isolate but to protect. Through this shield, communications could pass freely, but no weapon could penetrate. This is the precursor's gift, Ambassador Xorin said in awe. Not dominance over others, but the ability to protect life in all its forms. The arcs settled back into their positions around the world, now integrated with Earth's systems rather than buried beneath them. Their technology became accessible to humanity, but only for purposes aligned with preservation and growth. The hegemony retreated, their show of force rendered meaningless. Other assembly factions arrived to establish diplomatic relations with Earth, now recognized as the inheritors of the precursor legacy. 1 month after the activation, Alina stood on a balcony overlooking the transformed Sahara. Where once there had been only sand, now a garden of impossible diversity flourished. Plants from across the galaxy grew alongside Earth species, creating a new ecosystem that seemed both alien and perfectly natural. Colonel Chen joined her, looking out at the horizon where the edge of the arc merged seamlessly with the landscape. The UN is establishing a new agency to coordinate with the Assembly. They want you to lead it. Elena smiled. I'm not a diplomat. No, you're an explorer, Chen replied. And humanity's about to do a lot of exploring. In the night sky above them, stars shone with new clarity through the purified atmosphere. Among those stars waited thousands of worlds and civilizations, some welcoming, others wary of the species that had awakened the precursor legacy. Earth was no longer just another developing world on the galactic periphery. It had become something unique, a bridge between the ancient past and the uncertain future, entrusted with power that could heal or destroy. And humanity, for all its flaws and virtues, now faced its greatest challenge, proving that the precursor's faith had not been misplaced. The journey that began with a simple archaeological dig in the desert had opened a door to the stars that could never be closed again. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of awakening had begun.